You are listening to the 90 Days Later podcast with Anna Charles, episode 210. Welcome to the 90 Days Later podcast, where we talk about what really happens when you take a break from drinking. And it turns out to be the best thing you've ever done. I'm Anna, coach to high achievers who are done waking up with regret and ready to feel in control around alcohol. If you've ever wondered what your life could look like with less wine and more you're in the right place. Hello everybody and welcome back to the podcast and Happy New Year. Happy 2026. I hope you had a fabulous and restful and peaceful and fun-filled festive season. And if you're here joining me today, I'm reared up, right, for 2026 for achieving all the goals I have set for myself. And if that is true for you too, maybe one of your goals is I just want to change my relationship with alcohol for once and for all. I want to just stop over drinking. You are in the right place. So today I have chosen a topic that comes up for almost, I would say, everyone who's actively involved in changing their relationship with alcohol. And actually, this shows up in any new habit that you are working to change, or any new process or something you want to create in your life. And that is the gnarly topic of impatience. Right? This is the feeling of, I'm doing the work, why isn't this easier yet? Or, I thought by now I wouldn't be thinking about wine so much, right? What has gone wrong? So if you're thinking things like that, if that's you, you are in the right place. This episode, I must prefix this, is not about trying harder, right? The people I work with, the people who consume my podcasts and so on, and my one-on-one clients, you are all really very high achieving, high accomplished, driven, determined individuals. You know how to work hard. So this isn't about working harder. It's about understanding what is actually happening so you stop turning progress into pressure, because that also happens, right? Things start to work with it. And I just got to keep going on this, and what if it doesn't? Because impatience, I want to frame this as, doesn't mean you're failing if you feel impatient. It usually means that you're maybe changing faster than your nervous system can keep up with. So let's talk about that. Here's a really common refrain that I see. You've decided you want to drink less. You've made a plan, right? You've had a few wins. Maybe you've skipped drinks at home during the week, or maybe you've gone to dinner and you stopped at one. Maybe you said no to splitting the bottle of wine, or maybe you've had a few alcohol-free nights where honestly you didn't even miss it that much. And then suddenly your brain goes to, okay, great. So why am I still thinking about it, right? Why do I still feel tempted at 6 p.m.? Why was it so easy yesterday and it isn't today? Why do social situations still feel edgy? And we start to kind of get, come along now, come on, and impatience creeps in. This is when your mind starts negotiating, right? Maybe this should be easier by now. Maybe something has gone wrong with me. I mean, I know Anna says nothing has gone wrong, but maybe for me, it really has. Or maybe I'm just doing this wrong, right? And I want to be very clear. Nothing has gone wrong. What is happening is that you're early in the rewiring phase, right? The rewiring, it feels slow from the inside, even when massive change is happening underneath and we can't always see that change. I want to share, before I get into the meat and potatoes on this, how I've seen this showing up in my own life recently, because this has nothing to do with alcohol on the surface, but it's the exact same pattern. And I know sometimes seeing an example in a different circumstance can really help. So I've been doing these Sunday quizzes. I'm away in the sun for a few months working from here, and there's an establishment down the road, and they do this quiz on a Sunday that my husband and I have been joining in with. And we did fairly well last year, and I said I kind of expected I could just pick up and carry off where we left off, and I honestly expected we'd be doing better than we are. But I've noticed something really frustrating. I am actually not improving. I have not improved on last year. And I found my brain going to, this is really annoying. I mean, really you should know this stuff by now. Why are you making the same mistakes? Why are you not pausing? Why are you just writing? I mean, whatever comes into your head is all this real judgy stuff. And when I slow down and really look, what I see is I haven't actually been putting in any effort to do the learning, right? Why is that? It's because learning would mean slowing down. Learning or reviewing what I got wrong would mean slowing down. It would mean sitting with the discomfort of not knowing something. And that all feels heavy and it feels very inefficient. So instead, what have I been doing? I've been rushing in, I've been jumping back in, I've been telling myself I've just got to improve, I'll improve at some point, it's going to click, right? But it's the impatience that is creating the very thing I'm frustrated about. Because if I wasn't feeling so impatient with the fact that why am I not remembering or putting in the effort to learn some typical quiz questions, right? I'm challenging myself to learn all the capital cities, all the rivers, all the this, all the that. And it's not because it's hard, it's because I just don't want to feel like a beginner. I just don't want to, part of me doesn't want to do it, right? And every time, even when I've got that going on, I'm not getting the results I desire, and then I judge myself for not being better yet. And I'm taking less intentional action, not more. When I'm feeling impatient because things aren't going to plan, I'm not then more willing to sit down and slow down. I just feel like I need to speed up. It's kind of like if you would have a solution where you could drop all the capitals and rivers of the world into my head, I would take it. And this to me feels very like it used to feel with, I know there's other ways that I can relax in the evening. Of course, I know that, right? I always knew that sitting down or just going for a short walk or having a cup of tea, I knew this was all available to me. And yet really my impatience with the drink was, I know all that, but I still want to feel relaxed. And nothing works quicker with wine, but it was that impatience that was getting in the way of me taking more sustainable action, right? And so the point here is that when we actually let ourselves slow down a beat or two, we improve. We actually make progress to what we really want. And that is the point, right? I really want you to think about this. Because we know you don't think about wine at 10 a.m., but by 5 o'clock in the evening, it can feel really loud, really automatic, extremely familiar. And consider that didn't happen overnight, right? That's years, likely. For many of my clients, it's years of repetition, association, of relief, reward, all of those things. So when you interrupt that pattern, your brain doesn't panic because you're weak. It panics because the old shortcut isn't available yet. This feels like the long and winding road towards where we want to be. To maybe we want to feel relaxed at the end of the day, but to actually put in the effort to do the things and to manage our feelings and to be able to feel uncomfortable around the wine and all of those things just takes time. And we might just push that off and say, I just need to fix this now. And it's not even, if you say those words to yourself, this isn't about fixing you. There is not a problem with you. What we're doing is we're just changing a really, really smooth, well-established habit. And so impatience often shows up right at the moment when the old pattern is loosening, because we start to have some success and we think, ooh, and then we kind of leap ahead and think, so is that going to be it now? And then boom, right? We have a hard day and we feel like we're right back to where it was. Now this matters because that's not what's happening. What's happening here is we're just having some impatience to rush progress. And that is often the urge to escape discomfort, right? We want to get out of this. We want to be done with this because we don't want to feel the discomfort in the moment. But that discomfort is not a problem. That is where the work lies. All right, now let's put this into a real world scenario. I know these help. Let's consider you're going to a party. And by the way, this works particularly well if you're doing dry January and you have a birthday party or something to go to this month. So you're going to a party, you've already decided, right, you're not drinking, and you feel fine about it earlier in the day. But as the time to go to the party gets closer, you notice that edgy feeling, right? The slight restlessness. This is when you might think, it shouldn't still feel this awkward. I've done this before, so why am I overthinking this? Am I afraid I'm going to start negotiating with myself again? And this impatience, right, it can push you into two directions. On the one hand, you're going to drink just to get that feeling go away, right? That's the tried and tested old habit. Or two, you might just sort of white knuckle and really hope you can get through this while judging yourself for still finding this hard. Right? We've done this before, Anna. Why are you still feeling hard? This is feeling hard. This shouldn't be a problem anymore. But neither of these approaches build freedom, right? Because they're both really hard, and this is not something that was sustainable for the rest of our life. So here is the empowering move I want you to consider. You let the feeling be there, that discomfort, without turning it into some kind of verdict on your ability. Maybe you say something instead, of course this feels uncomfortable. I'm doing something new. I might have been doing this for a few months. This is still new to me when I consider how long I was drinking. I don't need this to feel easy just yet. I just need to be present right now. That's what I need to do. If you think in those terms, you're going to feel strong, you're going to feel more confident. And if you're doing this, the beauty is you're actually rewiring your thoughts and your behavior in real time. You're making it more likely and a smoother way that you're going to show up as you want to next time. Here's another common example of how this plays out. Maybe you've cut back during the week, but the weekend comes and you feel frustrated that you still want to drink. You might think, why am I not past this? I should be further along. That impatience can turn into entitlement. And my friend, entitlement is so sneaky. As it turns out and sounds like I've been good, I deserve it, or I've already done so much, or this is actually still a lot better than where I was, so one won't matter. But here is the reframe I want you to consider. Progress is not measured by how little you want the drink. It is measured by how you respond when you do. Let me say that again. Progress is not measured by how little you want the drink. It is measured by how you respond when you do. Each time you pause instead of react, you are building capacity. Each time you stay with the urge or you embrace the urge without trying to avoid it, push it away, resist it, fight it, you are teaching your brain something new, right? That is not slow progress. That is real progress. It is deep progress. Let's talk about another scenario, partner dynamics, right? Dynamics with your spouse. For a moment, maybe your husband or wife, they still drink. Or maybe they don't fully get why this matters so much to you. They're supportive. They know you want to drink less, but they're like, I don't really get it. Now you might be thinking, look, they should be more supportive by now. Or you might be thinking, why is this still a thing with them? Why do they still keep asking me if I'm going to drink wine when I've told them very clearly that my goal is not to do this? Again, this level of impatience is adding pressure where more clarity could help, right? And this is how we become more confident. I'm going to drop something here. I'm going to, what do they call these, truth bombs? And this is so powerful, right? Instead of needing everyone else to change so that this feels easier for you, right? So drinking less, saying no, all of those things feels easier for you. You get clearer with yourself why this matters to you. I will say that again. Instead of needing everyone else to change so this whole process feels easier, you get clearer with yourself. You ask things like, why am I choosing to not drink tonight? Or why am I choosing to drink tonight? What actually helps me? What do I need? What do I need? What can I give myself, regardless and irrespective of what other people do, right? It's nice. It's nice and helpful. And of course, we will go towards it if others support our goals here. But you don't need that. You do not need anyone else to be here with you. Right? You just need to know yourself, and and the more you can be patient with yourself and not kind of get in your own way by saying, judging yourself, I'm not making enough progress, that's the more power you're going to get, right? But it takes practice. It really takes practice. I want you to hear this. Impatience is not a sign to push harder. It is a signal, I want you to consider this, to slow down and widen the lens. Ask yourself other questions instead. Things like, am I expecting emotional ease before my brain has finished learning about this, right? Am I expecting this to be easy before I've even learned all the steps how to do this? Am I confusing discomfort with danger, right? Danger is like a stop sign. We don't want to go down this dark street. That wouldn't be good for our survival. We don't want to do that. Versus discomfort. We need discomfort to grow. I want you to consider that. We grow when we manage and feel our discomfort. You could also ask, am I measuring success by how fast this feels effortless? This is such a good one. Instead of how often I show up differently. Imagine if every single time, right, you're faced with a drink in any scenario, you show up differently to your what I would call your default response. You modify a little bit. You're with your mind and you're showing up differently. Imagine how fast you would actually create success without needing to kind of bash yourself along the head with impatience, right? Because the goal is not to rush to the end. The goal is to build a relationship with yourself that you actually trust. One of the first things I work on with my clients is trust, self-trust, trust in ourselves around alcohol. It is the basis from which everything grows. Trust is built in moments where you stay with whatever's going on, not where you escape. Right? I want you to think about the story you tell yourself if you sit with something that's uncomfortable versus a story you tell yourself if you say, I just want to numb out, and you reach for, the G&T. So here's something practical you can do this week. I love to give homework. If and when impatience shows up, right? I should be further along by now, any of those flavors. I want you to pause and I want you to acknowledge it. Here we go. Right? Here we go. I'm feeling impatient. This is the part when my brain just wants this to be over. I'm just going to say it. Then I want you to ask yourself one question. Make it a grounded question. Here's a good one. What would build freedom here, right? In this moment, even if it feels slightly uncomfortable, right? That might mean maybe leaving the party earlier. I definitely say don't avoid going to parties, but you don't have to stay for 10 hours, right? If that's going to be really difficult to start with. Sometimes it means just staying, and I'm just going to have a different drink here. I am actually going to drink water here, whether I find that comfortable and enjoying or not. Oh, sometimes it means having the urge and just really not acting on it. By the way, if you did that every time, think how quickly you would change, right? All of these kind of little things that we would do when we're feeling uncomfortable, they all count. You do not need to be further along to be doing this well. You do not need to feel confident yet in order to act confidently. And you definitely don't need to be perfect to be powerful and to feel in control. If you're impatient, it is often because the old version of you would have already poured the drink and you didn't. Now that matters more than you think. If this episode hit home and you're just tired of doing this alone and you're like 2026, I'm going for this, right? I'm just not going to have this struggle anymore. I can help. I work with people who want alcohol to stop taking up so much mental space, so they can move through their evenings, through social situations, and handle all of this with ease and self-trust. And you don't even need to have to want to say, I don't want to drink at all. If you don't want to drink at all, that's great too, right? But you do not have to want the label of I'm sober in order to work with me. So if you want to have that freedom around alcohol, so you trust yourself and you know it's not holding you back, I want you to book a call with me. On the call, we're going to talk about where you are, where you want to be. I will build for you the exact plan. So you'll have the exact prescription laid out as to this is what will be required. This is what we will do together to help you reach your desired goal. And you will leave that call with so much more information and a renewed sense of vigor that, of course, this is possible for you too. So to do that, go to 90dayslater.co and you can click on the book a call button at the top or take a look for the link in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining me here for this first podcast of 2026, and I will see you next week. If this episode hit home and you're ready to explore what life could look like with alcohol in the backseat, let's talk. I work with people one-on-one who are ready to create the relationship with alcohol that works for them, so they feel powerful in their choices and at peace with their habits. Go to 90dayslater.co and click on book a call, or grab one of the free guides in the show notes to this episode. And if this podcast is helping you, a rating or review goes a long way to help others find this work too.